Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud. We learn to lead. My name is Vikas. So friends, in this video we will be discussing about some of the most important current affairs of the July month of the topic indexes and reports. This video will be very helpful to you, so do watch the video till the end. Hit the like button and share the link of this video with your friends. So friends, we'll start with the session, but before that we have something important to tell you about. We have an app by the name Carriers Cloud which you can go and download through the Play Store. Once you have downloaded the app, you will open the app and you'll see this type of screen. In this, you can go and log in with your Google account, that is your Gmail ID. Then once you have logged in, then you will be moved to this page where you can see a window. If you click on the current affairs section here, then you will be moved to this page. Now this is where magic happens. This is the course where there are two courses provided by us. First, you should know it is of 1 year and 2 years, so choose your course accordingly. What we are providing and what is the reason behind that you should purchase course of current affairs from us, and what are the important details about it. First thing, you should know that we provide you current affairs in both English and Hindi. Okay, also we provide you here current affairs daily. PDFs are provided daily. The important factor here to remember is we are providing PDF to you daily. Okay, that contains question answers of the daily current affairs. They are explained in a much easy way where you can grasp the knowledge and do your revision. Okay, apart from it, we provide you with question answers. Then on every day we provide you 20 question answers quiz, daily 20 questions quiz. So imagine how much it will benefit you in your preparation. Then we provide you same thing for weekly. In weekly we take a quiz of 50 questions. Then question answers of week, we provide you a book, PDF is provided you weekly of the compiled questions of the whole week. Similarly for monthly also, ebook is given, your quizzes are taken, question answers PDF. Then apart from it, we also help you to prepare for banking papers. All the banking exams you can go refer to our videos and our courses here. You can see here we provide you banking and economic quiz of 157 questions. Okay, then topic wise PDFs are covered. As you can see, we are making videos on indexes and reports, important days, the books and authors, all the events that are taking place in individual months. So these PDFs are provided to you and they will help you a lot in your preparation for journal awareness, your journal studies, as well as for current affairs. Then you can see we also provide you current affairs for state-wise current affairs are provided to you. Apart from this, I have a gift for all of my friends here. If you use my code Vikas10, you will be getting a straight 10% discount on the purchase you make. So when you are about to check out and do the payment, just before the payment, you will be getting an option to use the promo code. There you can put the Vikas10, the code, and you will be getting an extra 10% discount on the total purchase you make there. So let's start with our video. So friends, let's start. First, we will be talking about Mercer Cost of Living Survey or Index. In this, we will be talking about the world's most expensive city of foreign workers and the rank of Mumbai in the Mercer Cost of Living Survey. Then, if we talk about the world's most expensive city is Ashgabat. This is the capital of Turkmenistan. Alright, it can be asked what is the rank of Mumbai in the Mercer cost of living ranking for the year 2021. The Mumbai's ranking is 78. Alright, it is important. If we look at the data, according to the Mercer's 2021 cost of living city ranking, Ashgabat, the capital of Turkmenistan, has now become the world's most expensive city for foreign workers, followed by Hong Kong on second position, then Beirut in Lebanon in third. Mumbai, Maharashtra was ranked 78th, making it India's most expensive city for expirates, a fall of 18 places compared to 60th rank in the 2020 Mercer survey. The rankings are based on the Mercer's 27th annual cost of living survey. Around 209 cities across 5 continents have been ranked in the survey. New York City, which was ranked 14th on the list, was used as the base city for the survey. Alright, so if we look at the ranking, Mumbai, Maharashtra's ranking is 78. The costliest city is Ashgabat, that is the capital of Turkmenistan. Then Hong Kong, and Beirut was on third, and it's in Lebanon. Moving on. Next we'll be talking about global startup ranking. That means what are the percentage or how many startups are being taken out in a particular country. So in this global startup ranking, what will be the rank of India and which country has topped this global startup ranking? We'll look at it. All right, let's start. Startup Link. First of all, tell me who released this Global Startup Ecosystem Index 2021. It was released by Startup Blink, which ranks countries and cities depending upon the startup environment in the particular country or city. In the country-wise ranking, India with a score of 8.833 was ranked 20th out of 100 countries. The United States has topped the index, that was followed by United Kingdom and Israel. Alright, so if we talk about the rank of India, it was 20. USA stands at first position in the Global Startup Ecosystem 2021. Alright, second was UK, third rank was of Israel. You need to know the rank of USA, that is first, and 20th rank of India. Both are important. Then this was of country wise. But if we talk about the city wise ranking, first city for the global startup ecosystem, the city that topped was San Francisco Bay, that is in USA. Second was New York, USA. Third was Beijing, China. And from Indian side, the only city that topped in the index was, or topped in top 10 was Bangalore, India, that stood at 10th position. Important data, do take a note as we are going through this video. Alright, next we'll be talking about ITU's Global Cyber Security Index. This is important because the rank of India in this has improved drastically, and now the rank of India in Global Cyber Security Index 2020 is only 10th. That is a very significant jump for India. Alright, it has taken a jump of 37 places to rank 10. Now the rank of India in the Global Cyber Security Index is 10th. Alright. Recently, Global Cyber Security Index 2021, the fourth edition of which was released by the International Telecommunication Union, the UN Agency for Information and Communication Technologies. India with a score of 97.5 has been ranked 10th. That was earlier 47th spot in the last edition of the Global Cyber Security Index of 2018. Alright, so now in 2020 the rank of India is 10th. Earlier in 2018 the rank was 47th. The US has topped the index, followed by UK and Saudi Arabia shared the second spot, while the Estonia took the third spot. So it can be asked, second position was shared by United Kingdom, with which country? It was shared by Saudi Arabia. First was USA and third was your Estonia, and 10th was your India. Alright, 10th India, important. First USA, second UK, second also Saudi Arabia, and third was your Estonia. Moving on. Next we'll be talking about a mixed study of WHO, that is your World Health Organization, along with UNICEF, found that around 23 million children missed out on routine COVID vaccines in 2020. Alright, let's look at it. In accordance with the official data published by WHO, that is your World Health Organization, along with UNICEF, that is your United Nations Children's Fund, namely WHO UNICEF estimates of national immunization coverage, WUNIC, a comprehensive worldwide childhood immunization, figures roughly 23 million children missed out on the basic vaccines through routine immunization services in 2020. They were not getting the daily or routine vaccines. Forget about the COVID related vaccines they will be getting. Alright, this figures in 3.7 million more than in 2019. These were the first official figures to reflect global service disruption due to COVID-19. If we look at the key points of this particular report, of the 23 million children, more than 60% live in 10 countries of India, Nigeria, Democratic Republic of Congo, Pakistan, Indonesia, Ethiopia, Brazil, Philippines, Angola, and Mexico. And 17 million of them did not receive any vaccine, zero dose children. That means since birth they haven't received any particular vaccine. Most of the children hail to communities affected by conflict in underserved remote places or in slums deprived of basic health and key social services. The WHO's Southeast Asian and East Mediterranean regions are the most affected in the immunization service disruptions. Middle income countries account for the increasing share of unprotected children. Vaccines against human papillomavirus, which protect girls against cervical cancer, are also highly affected due to school closures. Alright, next. Next, we'll be talking about India that has entered the World Trade Organization's top 10 agriculture produce exports in 2020 list. If it is asked what is the rank of India in the agriculture producers exporters in 2019, it stood at 10th. That means India's rank in the agriculture produce exporters was 10th, and this report was released by WTO, that is your World Trade Organization. A recently released World Trade Organization report has ranked India 9th. Sorry, I was wrong. It was not 10th. The rank of India is 9th here. I correct myself. Alright. So, coming back, rank of India 9th, holding 3.1% share in the global agriculture exports among the top 10 list of the agriculture produce exporters in 2019. European Union with a global share of 16.1% has replaced the US as the world's largest agriculture producer exporter with a 13.8%. Then the report states that India holds a significant share in the export of rice, cotton, soybean and meat. India has replaced New Zealand at the 9th rank. This question can be asked: India replaced whom with the 9th rank in the World Trade Organization's ranking in the global agriculture export? Alright. Then the WTO report documents that the trend in the world agriculture trade in the past 25 years. It comprises the rankings and share of the global agriculture export in 1995 to the same in 2019. If we look at the top global agriculture exporters, India's rank is 9th with a score or percentage of 3.1% export in 2019. First position was secured, as we saw, by European Union. It shifted USA. European Union's export percentage was 16.1 and the USA's export percentage was 13.8 only, and it was followed by Brazil at third position with 7.8 percentage of agriculture export. Then if we look at the key points, in 1995, the US was the world's leading agriculture exporter with 22.2% share. China has jumped from the 6th spot in 1995 with 4% to the 4th in 2019 with 5.4% share. Brazil maintained its rank as third largest exporter, increasing its share from 4.8% in 1995 to 7.8% in 2019. And the last is the Mexico was ranked 7th in the list, replacing Malaysia. It held a global agriculture export share of 3.4%. Moving on. Next, we'll be talking about UDISE Plus. UDISE Plus. It is your Unified District Information System for Education Plus. Alright, this is the full form and it is the important full form. This report on UDISE Plus was released by whom? It was released by Shri Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. If we look at the data, what is it is all about? Union Minister for Education or ex-Union Minister for Education Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank released the report on United District Information System for Education Plus, that is your UDISE Plus for 2019-20 for school education in India. It is the official statistics system of the Ministry of Education. If we look at the key points from this report, the gross enrollment ratio has improved at school levels of at all levels of school education in 2019 to 20 compared to the earlier year of 2018 to 19. The people teacher ratio has also increased at all levels of school education. Enrollment of girls from primary to higher secondary is more than 12.08 crore, an increase of 14.08 lakh compared to 2018 and 19. If we talk about the gender parity index at both secondary and higher secondary levels, they both have improved. The total students in school education from pre-primary to higher secondary has crossed 26.45 crore in 2019-20, which is an increase of 42.3 lakh compared to 2018-19. Approximately only 39% of schools in India had computers, while approximately only 22% had an internet connection in 2019 to 20. That is not more than one fourth also. All right, so that was the report on by Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank on UDICE Plus, that is your Unified District Information System for Education 2019 to 2020. Moving on. Next, we'll be talking about Indo-UK. What is this? India and UK FTA can help in achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat. That was a report released by UK IBC. First of all, what is FTA? FTA is your free trade agreement between India and United Kingdom. Alright, that is your UK IBC. I repeat, FTA is your free trade agreement and UKBIC is your a free trade agreement between India and United Kingdom. Now, what is UKIBC? UKIBC is your United Kingdom India Business Council. Let's look at the report now, what it is saying. According to the report, Road to a UK-India Free Trade Agreement Enhancing the Partnership and Achieving Self-Reliance, a report released by United Kingdom India Business Council, that is UKIBC. It is a free trade agreement between India and United Kingdom that will help in achieving India's vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Both countries have agreed for an enhanced trade partnership. They have agreed to start FTA negotiations by the end of 2021 with the goal of doubling trade by 2030. The report includes 5 recommendations to make Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign a success, which includes sharp focus on innovation and on digital and data sectors. India should remain open to free and fair trade. If we talk about UKIBC, chairperson is Richard Held and the head office of this UKIBC is in London, United Kingdom. Alright, moving on. Next, we'll be talking about World Health Organization issues first global report on the artificial intelligence in the health sector. Mention here health sector. Alright, so recently question can be asked, recently which organization issued the first global report on the artificial intelligence use in the health sector? It is your World Health Organization. The World Health Organization released the world's first report on the use of artificial intelligence in the healthcare sector called Ethics and the Governance of Artificial Intelligence for Health. WHO, with inputs from various international experts, prepared the report that can be used by countries to minimize the risk and maximize the benefits of AI. What are the changes that AI faces? Such as unethical collection and use of health data, biasing AI algorithm, unregulated use of AI to patient safety, data privacy and security, uninformed collection of patients' data. These are some of the challenges that were followed with the use of AI. WHO proposed 6 principles to maximize the utility of AI on public interest. Such these are protecting human autonomy, promoting human well-being and safety and the public interest, ensuring transparency, explainability and intelligibility, fostering responsibility and accountability, ensuring inclusiveness and equity, promoting AI that is responsive and sustainable. If we talk about WHO, Director General is Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, founded 1948 and the headquarters of WHO is in Geneva, Switzerland. WHO also shares the headquarters that is in Geneva, Switzerland with WTO and WIPO. Next, we'll be talking about India to add 26 gigawatt of hydro projects by 2030. That was a report released by International Energy Agency. I repeat, India is set to increase or set to add a total energy of 26 gigawatt of hydropower projects. From hydropower projects, what are these hydropower? These are the renewable sources of energy that are really or that the energy that are generated by the use of water. Alright, and this will be done by the year 2030. Year can also be asked, and the agency that released the report is also important, that is your International Energy Agency, IEA. Then if we look at the data, the hydropower special market report analysis and forecast to 2030 released by International Energy Agency, India is expected to add 26 gigawatt, that is around 26,000 megawatt of hydropower projects by 2030. At present, the installed capacity of 2,207 hydropower projects running in India is 46,209 megawatt. More than 9,000 megawatt of large hydropower projects are under construction at present. The global hydropower capacity is set to increase by 17% or 230 gigawatt between 2021 and 2030. China will remain the single largest hydropower market throughout 2030, accounting for 40% of the global capacity growth in the hydropower sector. This is the first ever IEA market report dedicated exclusively to hydropower. Then, if we talk about hydropower, this is the world's main source of low carbon electricity. All right, that means when this hydropower energy, this is the renewable source of energy, as I told you, when released, it generates or it produces very low carbon in the atmosphere, providing 1/6 of the global electricity generation in 2020, following coal and natural gas at almost 4,500 tetrawatt per hour, that is the 55% more than nuclear. Hydropower technologies are the world's main source of low carbon electricity. All right, then move on. Next, we'll be talking about human wildlife conflict among the greatest threats to animal species as per the report of WWF and UNEP. What is your WWF and UNEP? UNEP stands for United Nations Environment Program and WWF is your Worldwide for Nature. All right. Worldwide Fund for Nature, that is your WWF, and your UNEP is your United Nations Environment Program, released a report that is a future for all the needs for human wildlife coexistence, which states that the world's most iconic species are the threat due to conflict between humans and animals as one of the key reasons. The analysis of the report is based upon the contribution from 155 experts from 40 organizations based in 227 countries. Alright, I repeat, this analysis of the report is based on 155 experts from 40 organizations and 27 countries. Name of the report, let me just clear it out here. Name of the report is A Future for All the Need for Human Wildlife Coexistence, that was released by World Wildlife Fund for Nature, WWF, and UNEP, that is your United Nations Environment Program. All right, let's move on. Let's look at some of the key points of this report. On the global front, conflict related killing affected more than 75% of the world's wildlife cat species, along with other terrestrial and marine carnivore species such as polar bears and Mediterranean monk seals, as well as elephants. On the Indian front, as per the data from the Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, indicates that over 500 elephants were killed between 2014 and 15 and 2018 and 19, mostly due to human-elephant conflict. During the same period, 2,361 people were killed as a result of conflict with elephants. Global wildlife population have fallen on an average of 68% since 1970. Alright, let's now once revise. The name of the report was A Future for All the Need for Human Wildlife Coexistence, that was released by WWF, and along with these were the two organizations who released it, that was WWF and your UNEP, that is United Nations Environment Program. So do remember both of them. Next we'll be talking a report by Oxfam. 11 people die of hunger each minute around the globe, and the name of the report was The Hunger Virus Multiplies. Alright, question can be asked, the hunger virus multiplies was a report released by which organization? It was released by Oxfam. Then it can be asked, a data was released that states that 11 people die of hunger each minute. This data was released in which report? Released by which organization? So this report was The Hunger Virus Multiplies, and this report was released by Oxfam. Each minute, 11 people die of hunger, and there is a six-fold increase compared to last year in the number of people threatened over famine-like conditions, as per the report titled "The Hunger Virus Multiplies," released by the Global Anti-Poverty Organization, that is your Oxfam. The report also states that the global death toll of 11 per minute from famine outpaced that of COVID-19, that is around 7 deaths per minute. Let's look at the finding of the reports. With an addition of 20 million people, the total count of people at the crisis level of food insecurity has increased to 155 million, with major case of poverty being armed conflict. War-torn countries like Afghanistan, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Syria, Yemen are the worst hunger hotspots. Global warming and economic recession caused a 40% increase in the global food prices, moving millions of people into poverty. If we talk about Oxfam, it was founded in the year 1942. Executive director is Gabriel Busher, and the headquarters of this Oxfam is in Nairobi, Kenya. Next we'll be talking about Niti Aayog along with International Energy Agency has launched the renewables integration in 2021. Let's look at this, what it is all about. Dr. Rakesh Sarwal, who is the additional secretary of Niti Aayog, and Keisuke Sadamuri, director of energy markets and security in the International Energy Agency, jointly launched a report that is Renewable Integration in India 2021, that was prepared by Niti Aayog and IEA. You need to remember these two institution name, that is Niti Aayog and IEA, International Energy Agency. The report is based on the outcome of workshops held with the state governments of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Gujarat. The workshops were held to understand the specific energy transition challenges faced by the renewable rich states. The joint report uses IEA modeling result to show the effects of different flexibility options on the power system. The report provides suggestions for states to manage the integration of renewable energy resources. If we look at some of the highlights from the report, it states that India's power system is capable of efficiently integrating renewable energy, that is of about 175 gigawatt by 2022 and 450 gigawatts by year 2030. The efficient integration will require identification of resources and proper planning, regulatory policy and institutional support, energy shortage and advanced technological initiatives. The acceleration transition to clean energy system, India states must employ a wide range of flexibility options such as demand response, flexible operations of coal-based power plants, storage and grid improvements. Large shares of renewables can be better managed by utilizing time of use metering in agriculture, that is TOU, time of metering in agriculture. Next we'll be talking about ENDS. It stands for Electronic Nicotine Delivery System. To use among children and adolescents increase the chance of their use of conventional cigarettes and other tobacco products in the future, a report by World Health Organization. Let's look at it. World Health Organization released the 8th edition of the Global Tobacco Epidemic 2021, addressing new and emerging products. For the first time, the report presents data on e-cigarettes and other electronic nicotine system, that is your ENDS. The report states that the children and adolescents who use the ENDS have high chances of using conventional cigarettes and other tobacco products in future. Use of ENDS affect brain development of adolescent. It also has a damaging impact on the cardiovascular and respiratory health of regular smokers. Currently, just 32 countries covering 2.4 billion people have banned the sales of ENDS, while 79 countries have implemented partial measures to regulate ENDS. If we look at some of the other findings, it states that tobacco kills more than 8 million people each year. 80% of the world's 1.3 billion tobacco users live in low and middle income countries. However, smoking prevalence among people aged over 15 years has decreased from 22.7% to just 17.5%. If we talk about WHO, we just saw Director General is Ghebreyesus' headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, that shares the headquarters with WTO, that is World Trade Organization, and WIPO, that is World Intellectual Property Organizations. Alright. Next we'll be talking about impact from automation in Asia and Pacific. A report by Autodesk survey states that India ranked 5th highest in the terms of the impact from automation in Asia Pacific region. A recent report that says the future of work is now. Is APAC ready? States that India has ranked 5th highest in terms of the impact from automation and ninth in the terms of level preparedness among 12 Asia Pacific countries. The report was commissioned by Autodesk Foundation and conducted by Deloitte. The most prepared countries are Japan, Singapore, Australia are the most prepared for the coming wave of automation. Least prepared are India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan are most at the risk and are least prepared for the incoming wave of automation. It provides a quantitative estimate of industries which will be the most affected due to automation. Automation is that everything will be shifted on robots instead of the human labor. Alright, key points. The top 3 industries which face high risk due to automation are construction, mining, and transport. India faces a high impact due to automation as it is large employment shares is in agriculture, manufacturing, and construction. If we talk about Autodesk Foundation, President and COO is Lionel Cameron. Headquarter is in San Francisco, California, USA. If we talk about Deloitte, Global CEO is Puneet Ranjan and the headquarter is in New York, USA of Deloitte. So friends, this was our video. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you liked our video, do hit the like button, share the link with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel or if you are new to our channel, then do subscribe because it motivates us to bring a better content for you guys. Also, if you have any trouble regarding login or payment or any other issues, then you can reach to us on our mail that is support@affairscloud.com, or you can call us on the number 9677333862 and we'll resolve your issue as soon as possible. Also, you should go and check our courses that are available at a very reasonable price and that will help you to boost your preparation.